This is the GoPro Hero 9 and I'm going to show you how you can do an overnight time lapse just like how I did it in the snowy Californian mountains right now. Let's get gnarly. Okay, so when you set up is a overnight time lapse or a very long exposure time lapse, you will need is your cable for your GoPro. You have to set your GoPro onto time lapse, place it on a specific time, on a time frame, and just keep it rolling. And make sure you have at least 128 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes, and that will let yourself be successful in your time lapse. Now, in the settings, it will depend upon what you do, and with this, you also need a power bank. If you don't have a power bank yet, I'll link it in the description. And you're going to link it up into the USB-C and make sure it's long enough too, because you will need this also in the forest. First, you have to find is a spot where you can place your GoPro or the view or the window. Now, if it's going to be the window, make sure you close up the curtain or place a paper towel or something to basically just block out the sunlight from your lamps inside. Because the glare is pretty annoying, would you say? Because you can't get the view that you wanted. So go ahead and pull that curtain off onto the side and block out the glare. Because when you block out the glare, you get a better view and pictures for each one. Now you might be like, what's the settings that I need? I'm going to tell you that at the very end of the video, so stick around. Once you remove the glare in the spot that you chose or decided to place your GoPro for a time lapse, or a long exposure time lapse, something like that, then you will need this thing. Now, this thing is a Joby tripod, but you can use the GoPro accessories, but basically any type of tripod to keep it stable. Now, when it's stable, then it basically just stays in that spot forever. So if you're planning to move it, you can't really move it because it just stays in that one spot. So choose wisely where you put your GoPro, because that's going to decide where your time lapse is, because you don't want it to be like moving a whole lot, or else the photos that your GoPro would take, depending on how many photos it takes per hour, would be basically very shaky and not great to watch. Once you get your tripod, your glare out of the way, all of that, then you will need is extra battery. Because if you don't have extra battery, then basically you're gonna have your GoPro only do 2 hours, because the GoPro Hero 9, the big battery that's on it right now, it lasts for 2 hours worth of the entire battery life, basically. So in order to extend that battery, you will need a USB cable and a power bank. Now, my power bank, I'm going to link it in the description down below, but for this cable, for the GoPro Hero 9, you will need the one that you specifically got it in. So this is the USB-C to USB-A. You would plug the USB-C into your GoPro, and then plug the USB-A to the power bank. Once you plug it in into your GoPro, now your GoPro is going to turn on, and it's only really going to be using the actual battery inside of it. Only if this powers down, or if you plug this USB-A to a wall outlet if the power goes out. If the power goes out, then it's going to rely on the actual GoPro battery. Now, while it does that on the time lapse, then you're able to set it up now. Just make sure that your power bank is out of the way of water, because if it reaches water, as you can know, it could not work correctly, which is what we don't want. You're going to actually remove the actual side door of the GoPro, but I don't recommend it because many people actually lose it, like, actually. Now, the GoPro settings that I have may not be specific for your need, because this was in Lake Tahoe when I did it, but we're going to go through the time lapse of what I have of my settings, because you need to know the settings. But adjust your settings to your location. So in time-lapse mode, I have my resolution as 1080p, my lens as wide, format video. Interval 10 seconds. Interval is when basically you have the in-between sections of how many seconds it would take until the next photo, basically. Scheduled capture, when the GoPro should stop recording. Basically, this is almost like a timer, but I don't recommend this if you are really doing it late at night, because you need a power bank, but if you do, then you're totally fine. Zoom, Pro Tune, I have my bitrate as standard. Sometimes I have it as high if I have enough battery. EV Comp 0, White Balance Auto, ISO minimum 100, ISO max 1600, sharpness high, color GoPro. Now, if you are an advanced editor, change your color to flat because this will give you more options on how you can color grade your video. Shortcuts, you can know my shortcuts, but if you want just mine, then I have my lower left as lens, lower right zoom, upper left scheduled capture, upper right duration. But that goes towards your own preferences. Is what I have if you're doing a long exposure time lapse, and I don't really know, but I'm going to try figuring it out very, very soon. If not, then I'll try getting it to you, okay? Now, if you're not familiarizing yourself with time warp, it's basically like a time-lapse video, but it's actually what it means, time-lapse and a video combined. And you're able to actually start and stop the video. With this, basically you're able to continue on having a consistent amount of pictures in a time-lapse of the landscape. And if you see something cool, just like almost like a road trip, then you can just click on Start Real Speed, which is the actual speed of life that you're in this video about how I use my GoPro Hero 9 as a webcam and how you can do it too to upgrade your webcam from looking like a potato. Now, this is all what I have. I hope I gave you the knowledge, and if you want to, subscribe so then I can just give you more knowledge about tech. Or about this little thing, because I'm going to cover it more. Now, thanks for watching, and shaka and mahalo. Oh look, it's so sticky. It's so sticky. They don't have school, that's unfair.
This is so unfair. This is really unfair.
Yeah.
I want to play outside too.
All what we want to do right now is get outside. We don't... Also, check out this time lapse that I took.